Yeah. I love my HBCU. And boy, I love it, love it. I love it, love it. I love my HBCU. And man, I hope my team they won. Yeah. I hope my team they won. Yeah. Man, I hope my team they won. I hope my team they won. Yeah. I tune into the HBCU Sports Lab to see if my team won or lost. If they lost, I'm quiet as a mouse. But if they won, keep tab. I'ma do the dab, yeah. Dr. Cavil, he know what he be talking about. Mike and Charles, they know what they be talking about. They compress the analytic data with the hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they won or lost, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gonna teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Phil with Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Mike Washington is out on assignment, so we have none other than the other Tim numbers here to give you a great show. Welcome to episode 840 of Inside the HBCU Sports Lab radio show and podcast, the show that's covering the sporting HBCU diaspora. All things HBCU sports for institutions large and small, from the NAIA to the NCAA. We share insights and information on the HBCU sports culture, HBCU athletic aesthetics, and facilitate the story of HBCU athletic programs and the business of HBCU sports. I'm your host, Dr. Kenyatta Cavil, along with my co-host, Mike Washington, Charles Bishop. We're filming from our home studios and sending a signal live. KSWH 1230 AM studios with the Texas Radio Hall of Famer, Ralph Cooper, multi-Hall of Fame, I should say, and beautiful home of Texas Southern University from Houston, Texas. With that being said, let's bring everybody on board. As we're doing that, today's episode of Inside the HBCU Sports Lab is sponsored by THG Agency. THG Agency is a company that provides sporting, education, consulting, and data analytics. With that, let's get to everybody. Charles, how are you doing today?
Doing well, Doc. Let me tell you something. It is hot in Houston, Texas. It is. Oh my gosh. I don't know what the temperature is where you are, but in Houston, it feels like 111, 112 outside.
Yeah, it's a different type of heat right now. Wilton, how are you?
I am doing good. To Charles's point, it's hot in Mississippi too. But that also means, the last dog days of July, August is here, fall camps are starting, and football is that much more closer to starting.
Ooh.
Is that what it means?
It does.
Coaches come with it speeches now.
Yeah.
I hope everybody still takes care with this heat, because it's not having any friends out here. AD, how are you doing today?
I don't know what the field like temperature is besides oven outside, but the air temperature said 96 when I looked at my phone when I walked out my office today to get in my car.
He said,
the feels like temperature was oven, but the official air temperature was 96 at 4:10 local time when I walked out of my office to get in my car. And one thing I want to say, everybody, to all the HBCU outlets and the other outlets who have picked up on these stories, thank God it's not Morehouse making the headlines for the last week and a half. We love you, Tuskegee. We love you, Howard.
Oh yeah, Tuskegee news.
They paying the bills.
Policy has sparked controversy, boy. I tell you, I certainly could. The thing that first I thought about, I know a lot of people was like, "Man, you got to put a policy out like that." My mind was like, "How bad did it have to get before a president felt that they needed to put a policy on paper like this?"
Yeah,
almost that I could only imagine what would stimulate a president for him to activate a policy like this. With that being said, let's go to some other news of the day, and I'm gonna come back to you, Charles. What's hot and on your mind in terms of news of the day?
Oh, let's see. Where do we go first, Dr. Cavil? A lot of stuff out there, but let's start with Tennessee State. Let's start as they named their interim athletics director after Mickey Allen was placed on leave. Jennifer Bell was named the interim director of athletics on last Friday, effective immediately, elevating a longtime administrator as the school continues an internal investigation involving the previous athletic director in the form of Mickey Allen. So Bell will oversee all aspects of the program and following concerns raised by 6 coaches and ensuing review of the department's leadership, communication, and operations. So Jennifer Bell now takes over at Tennessee State.
Congratulations for Jennifer Bell as she leads the Tiger program into the new academic year as they do an investigation on Dr. Mickey Allen. We all recall when the news came out that he got a vote of confidence to the coaches. And as professors, we compared it as much as we could to the academic side of the house. And while we've heard a vote of no confidence, we could not really place it in the pantheon of understanding votes of no confidence from those people that report directly to you. That's how much of an anomaly something of this magnitude was. So it will be a big challenge, as the president came out and said he did his analysis and he's doing a formal investigation for Dr. Mickey Allen to find a way through this. We've seen various ways where different individuals at the institution have moved on to that list, and it's always hard to come off of that. But wish him well, wish the Tiger family well, the new AD and her interim role, wish them all well, except for when they play the SWAC schools, for those that are SWAC fans, I'm sure. And then for when they played MEAC school this year. But outside of that, as a HBCU, I'm sure folks say, all right, do all your things that you need to get done. So it'll be interesting, but as an HBCU fan, certainly support them in their endeavors. Got a big one to start things off. John Merritt Classic, Labor Day weekend. Ooh, Tigers of Jackson State coming to Nashville. Should be fascinating. A lot of talk around that. But as we continue to move around, let me go to you, Wilton. What's on your mind?
So Michael Vick and DeSean Jackson are going to run it back this year, and HBCU football is basically headed back to one of the biggest stages. On October 31st, Delaware State will once again play Norfolk State at Lincoln Financial Field in Philadelphia, the home of the NFL Eagles. In the kickoff time and additional game day details will be released later. Obviously, these two teams met last year in 2025, and we know the outcome of the game, but more so just the camaraderie that was created from that atmosphere. And here's a quote from Vick. He said, "Coming back to Lincoln Financial Field never gets old for me. This is a place that holds a lot of special memories," Vick said, who started in the NFL with both the Atlanta Falcons and the Philadelphia Eagles. "Last year's game was a special moment for our program, and to lead our players back onto a field I once called home is something that I'll always cherish." The matchup renews his connection with Delaware State head coach DeSean Jackson, a former teammate and longtime friend, adding intrigue to a game that already carries regional and cultural significance. So when that game comes back around again, you're talking about two MEAC teams. You really starting. We like to say MEAC play starts right after Halloween. So, I mean, you get this game. I mean, what better way to get excited about MEAC play than, having a game like this on an NFL stage under these circumstances?
Halloween. I wonder how many folks will have their Halloween costumes on. Which folks still find a way to get into that holiday. But the bigger thing is AD and I had a chance to be in Baltimore as Roy was there to shoot everything. We did get a chance to interview all the coaches. First thing I'll say, it's always interesting. You saw this at the MEAC as well. Second-year coaches, how more comfortable they are with their media day. When it's not like they're just out of it, but they, like anything, you don't know quite what you're getting into. So you can see a little bit of how uncomfortable people are, even though they're smooth and can do their thing. But you can tell that, whether it's even Tennessee State coach, A&T, you see them, Alabama A&M in the SWAC. You can just see the way they came in there in the room. Mississippi Valley State coach. This is just a different thing. And you kind of see that from first-year coaches, regardless of how confident they are, just new places, new gigs, and what happened. So we asked DeSean that question. And I don't know if he was just being coy or didn't want to get ahead of the actual news release, or at the time had they not inked everything. But he said, we're looking into it, but he was real coy and certainly didn't let it out that this was going to happen. So the fact to hear that this is a game that they're going to run it back, if you would, using that framework, is pretty cool to hear, because it certainly had a lot of momentum after last year in terms of what that looks like. Also need to put in a plug for the CIAA, as they will have a game there this year in terms of school down the road, Lincoln, Pennsylvania. They get a game this year as they bring in Virginia Union to that. So it sounds like Lincoln Financial Field understand the value in terms of bringing HBC programs, and maybe it's kind of a thing now. They will host 2 games this year. Second time for the MEAC with Coach Vick and Coach Jackson, and then a Division II CIAA HBCU conference game matchup. Pretty big. Good news, Wilton Jackson the second. AD Drew, what's on your mind?
Sidebar. 47,000 on a Thursday night. I wonder what that game looks like on a Saturday afternoon or a Saturday evening.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Got a point.
Yeah.
Anyway, my news of the day, and this comes from an interview from HBCU Nightly, where the commissioner Sonia Steels, we talk a lot of people, feel like that, but Sonia Steels knows what she's talking about. And she says that HBCU leaders must remain cautious about NIL legislation, emphasizes that any proposals must protect institutions as much as student athletes while preserving their traditional college athletics model. Once again, this comes from HBCU Nightly, as she was speaking specifically about the SCORE Act, which is really kind of died and everything. But the Congress is still trying to do what they do with this. The proposed legislation would have protected the rights of student athletes by creating a uniform national law rather than the more than 30 individual state NIL laws. That bill was aimed to codify the status of student athletes, thus rendering them ineligible to be considered employees of their respective colleges and universities. Steele went on to say that the primary concern shared by the MEAC and other conferences is the potential classification of student athletes as employees. A shift, she warned, could have devastating consequences for HBCU athletic departments. She pointed to existing financial disparities, noting that HBCUs are already operating with limited resources compared to larger institutions. Beyond compensation concerns, Steele stressed the need for federal legislation to shield HBCUs from the financial ripple effects of ongoing legal challenges within the NCAA. And Dr. Cavil, your president, President Carroll from Texas Southern, also noted that HBCUs are under strain in the current NIL era, and be it a financial arms race for talent. He compared the environment to a Hunger Games style competition, one that favors the wealthiest programs and leaves smaller schools scrambling to keep up.
We're looking at, speaking about the CORE Act, the College Sports Act, or the Protect College Sports Act, is navigating itself with Midnight Madness and the Big Ten and SEC commissioners and all. They're navigating that space and having closed door meetings. What's fascinating to me, just to be frank, is I hear a lot of leaders talking about these programs, but I hadn't heard any students. So I'll put a pin on it there, just to be frank. And I think anytime there's something associated with some of these folks that are involved, it concerns me, to be frank. When you have some of these senators that have never been friends to Black people or Black institutions. So that's another concern. I hadn't heard the Congressional Black Caucus change their framework on their position and how they are challenged by some of the same Republicans that are associated with these other groups that have taken away black votes in districts. So the hidden ball hand trick is real. And while I love sports, it's not the only vehicle that we should care about as individuals, even though that's what we talk about. So there's some major challenges out there, and we will continue to see where they go and what that means. And I'm fascinated about what is taking place. And my students that had me for lecture and class really get a chance to take deep dives into understanding this on a different level than we have time to really discuss on this platform. So I'm fascinated to see where that's going. I did want to close out before we get on the other side, and we look forward to an interview that I want to bring you to take you outside of what we all see just here in the United States and take a global perspective, particularly after a lot of folks maybe have become a little more global with the World Cup, with its good and bad in terms of what took place there, mostly good in terms of the action on the field with the players and the fans associated with those teams. But also as we continue to deal with our international space of combative wars that are taking place across the world, that also is affecting so many people and so many lives that we need to be aware of. But the ESPN Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference announced a multi-year media rights agreement. Kind of touched on this on Wednesday when we moved the show, but want to let everybody know it's official in terms of that ESPN reached that deal that was released for many of us that were there in regards to Media Day. We did talk about the MEAC network, as you see here. That will be fascinating news to see how they move, particularly after following the success of the SWAC network, what we refer to as SWAC TV. So credit to the MEAC. SIC, CIAA have their TV streaming platform. So the interest that people have based on the number of programs that are streaming, the coverage that are coming in from these media days and the news that flows so freely day to day, HBCUs are in a good position in a lot of ways to get information out there. So we need to continue to support that. Let's take our first break, come back on the other side, and see if we can get into some dialogue, as I said, from an international perspective on HBCU sports. Those are so.
For over 30 years, HBCU Image has been more than just an apparel store. We've been a movement, a statement, a legacy. We celebrate the pride, the purpose, and the culture that make historically black colleges and universities legendary. Whether you're a student or a lifelong supporter, our gear lets you wear your HBCU story with confidence and style. Because when you wear HBCU Image, you're not just wearing clothes. You're wearing culture. You're wearing pride. You're wearing purpose. HBCU Image.
Ever told yourself, I want to get into real estate but don't know where to start? Here's something just for you. From Friday, July 31st to Sunday, August 2nd, the Learn Real Estate Fast Masterclass is coming to McKenzie Office Park in College Park. You'll learn wholesaling, commercial investing, and how to purchase property with zero money or credit. I can tell you, education and access are everything. This masterclass is designed to give you both. Whether you're brand new or ready to level up, this is where you start making real moves. Enjoy free lunch, free study materials, and receive a certification of completion. So don't wait. Seats are filling fast. Do not sit on the sidelines while others build wealth. Take that first step toward ownership and legacy. Get your tickets now at learnrealestatefast.com or tickpick.com. For more information, call 678-859-3303. Master the market. Build your legacy. Secure your future today.
This is the Dean of the College of HBCU Sports, Kenyatta Cavil of Dr. Cavil's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Come mix it up in the lab where the course lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube, Spreaker, or the BCSN app. as we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora, as well as the upcoming week of HBCU sports. With me, the Dean, the College of HBCU Sports, on Dr. Cavil's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Course lecture dismissed.
Introducing the HBCU Trivia Game. It's more than a board game, it's a journey to the legacy of historically black colleges and universities. Here's how it works. 2 to 4 players, ages 13 and up, start as freshmen and roll the dice to advance. But here's the twist. You can only move forward by answering trivia questions about HBCU. Test your knowledge of notable alumni, key historical events, sports milestones, and fun HBCU facts. Watch out for spaces that can propel you ahead or set you back. And if you get a question wrong, you stay put until your next turn. The first to reach graduation wins! The HBCU Trivia Game. Support, educate, entertain! Available now. Let the journey begin.
Football fans, HBCU football is back in the ATL on August 29th with the Cricket MEAC SWAC Challenge Kickoff presented by Toyota, representing the SWAC, Alabama A&M, and representing the MEAC, Howard, Bulldogs, Bison, the Marching Maroon and White, the Showtime Marching Band, the premier FCS matchup in primetime with a kickoff trophy up for grabs. Join us pre-game for band jamborees, food, activations, and fellowship. For tickets and information, visit MEACSWACChallenge.com.
Compress the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna lose, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Cavil with Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Do we have a video we're going to play, or we're going to go straight to Coach Hernandez? Let's bring Coach Hernandez on if we can. We'll get in the video. We'll see if we can get Coach Hernandez for 2 segments, and we'll tease out that video between the break. With that being said, I thought we had Hernandez. Did he leak out on us?
Nah, he's here. He's just got the wrong
screen up there.
Yeah.
Well, let's work. Coach Hernandez, how are you doing today? I see you have your Bethune-Cookman here on appropriately, back-to-back regular season champions. Got 1 tournament championship appearance under your belt.
What's going on? You guys hear me okay?
Oh, we can hear you great.
Okay. How's everything going, fellas?
We don't want no excuses. Now you're international, Team USA aficionado.
Yeah, it's been
Inaugural World Collegiate Championships. How are you doing? How was Taiwan? That's the first question. Let's get that out of the way. How was Taiwan?
Unbelievable experience. Being around not only the top, 28 non-draftable eligible players as far as college baseball is concerned. The coaching staff that was constructed through USA Baseball, and just the people, that make USA Baseball work behind the scenes. It was a phenomenal experience. One that, for me, I don't take lightly, because I was able to represent not only our institution at Bethune-Cookman, but also being able to represent the Southwestern Athletic Conference and HBCU baseball, as a whole for all of us. This is a major win for all of us in the HBCU scope. And again, I'm so fortunate to be able to have that opportunity.
Good stuff, man. Those pictures that you sent over are pretty amazing. This is a picture of yourself, Coach Pierre, Grambling State's head baseball coach. My goodness. Norfolk State player Thomas Ely, Alabama State Trey Callaway, and Bethune-Cookman's very own Pablo Torres are involved in this picture. As you see there, left to right, and then our coach, Coach Hernandez, that's joined us today. That's pretty exciting to see that in the game, not lose the bottom line here. There was Chinese Taipei, Japan, Korea, and the United States. Let's go back a little bit, because you had to go to a camp. And everybody was gone in terms of really putting this roster together. Talk a little bit about the camp before we get into more of the international game.
Yeah, I thought training camp was great. We reported on June 23rd to Cary, North Carolina, beautiful facility, the USA Baseball Complex. If anyone has an opportunity and they're rolling through North Carolina, I highly suggest anyone get an opportunity to go see the USA Baseball Complex. It's phenomenal. They added a new indoor training facility, new offices. It's a 4-field complex. And in the backside, they have the 4-field for the youth. So all of the national teams, from the collegiate national team to the women's national team down to 18s, 15s, and the 12Us, they all train out of there. And it was a great camp with the top, again, 56, 57 players that are non-draftable collegiate baseball players. And that was a tough decision, right? You're getting the top 58, 60 dudes across the country, highlighted by, for us, it's special having 3 guys, that have been able to play in HBCU, whether it's the MEAC or the Northeast Conference, and obviously the SWAC with Callaway and, with Torres. Just giving them that opportunity also is great. So it was tough. There were long days. There were tough decisions that had to be had. And, at the end of the day, the coaching staff, with the collegiate national team, I think that we made the right decision in choosing the guys that we decided to choose to go to Taiwan and participate in the inaugural World Collegiate Baseball League. But you're talking about long days. It's wake up in the morning, have breakfast, then we're heading out to the complex for a practice, a workout, go back to the hotel, have lunch, have some meetings, and then right back for the facility to go be able to play baseball games, the Stars and Stripes series. So it was a great experience all the way around. Phenomenal people that I was able to come in contact with. And again, just being able to represent Bethune-Cookman and the Southwestern Athletic Conference and the HBCU baseball, world in that aspect, for me, it's truly an honor. This isn't the first time that a SWAC coach has had the opportunity to coach in USA Baseball. Coach Pierre was with us. He was the third base coach for the Stripes team this past year. Coach Omar Johnson last year was an assistant on the USA Collegiate team that went to Japan. The year before, Coach Vasquez out of Alabama State is also, he was the head coach of the collegiate national team. And in 23, he was part of it as an assistant. So, again, it just opens up opportunities. Coach Crenshaw was also in the Stripes and Stars series a couple of years ago, representing Southern and SWAC baseball and HBCU baseball. So the fact that our head coaches are getting these opportunities, I think it speaks volumes of the type of coaching development that we currently have in the Southwestern Athletic Conference, and we're just continuing to evolve as a conference as well on the baseball side.
Good stuff. Yeah, man, there's so much to unpack there. Hopefully we can get you for 2 segments to allow the gentleman here the chance to get in the segment. I didn't want to bury the other part of the league. It was a round-robin 14 tournament, as we named the team. You got the opening round where USA defeats Chinese Taipei 10-6. And those that have followed Little League baseball probably have heard about Chinese Taipei. So keep your heads on there. Then you have the round robin, USA, Japan. And if you followed the World Baseball Classic, you heard about Japan. Just a little. USA won a big one. That was 3-2. These games were played July 12th, July 13th. And then the round robin second game that USA played was July 14th, and USA played Korea. That was a 10-0, 7-inning short game. You had a third place game that I do not have a score for, which is Chinese Taipei and Korea. The final, the gold medal game, was a tough one on July 15th here. Japan won 5-2, 11-inning thriller as you came out of that game. Let's take our second break. Hold Coach over if you would. Come back, and I'm going to let these gentlemen get a chance to ask some follow-up questions.
This is Brian Fulford. A.D. Drew and I are co-hosts of the BCSN Sports Lab. We talk about all things related to HBCU athletics. From the games, teams, coaches, and fan interest stories, we cover it all. You can find our shows on Facebook at BCSN Sports Lab, YouTube at MyJBN Online, and everywhere you listen to podcasts like Anchor, Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. You can also find the show on the Jericho Broadcast Network's app. Make sure to download. We look forward to you joining the conversation and being a part of the show.
Planning an event?
From weddings to corporate functions, CMJ Events LLC brings over 15 years of experience to make your vision a reality. Based in Metro Atlanta and serving statewide, even internationally, we provide versatile event planning and authentic catering cuisines tailored to your needs. Whether it's pre-game meals for student athletes, fundraisers, weddings, corporate functions, CMJ Events LLC is your one-stop solution for exceptional service and unforgettable food. Our diverse culinary heritage means we cater to all cultural tastes, dietary needs, and food restrictions, making every meal uniquely yours. Let's make your next event unforgettable. Visit us on all social media at CMJ Events LLC or email us at cmjeventsllc@gmail.com. Also give us a call at 404-664-3882 so that we can start planning now.
From cancer care to accidental injuries to cardiac care, we all know that there are times that you can't control what happens in your life. But with Globe Life Family Heritage, you can be prepared to weather the storm when it comes. Call Dr. Beverly Eagle Rogers at 877-300-8269 or visit the website at globelifefamilyheritage.com. With over 25 years of serving communities, Dr. Beverly Eagles Rogers is here to help you and your family through difficult times. Dr. Beverly takes pride in Globe Life being one of the few companies that returns 100% of premiums to clients that stay healthy. So for more information, call Dr. Beverly Eagle Rogers at 877-300-8269 or visit the website at globelifefamilyheritage.com.
When it comes to professional learning, teachers deserve better. From the leader in online learning, Stride brings you the Stride Professional Development Center, an on-demand library of mobile-friendly courses that gives teachers choice and flexibility, allowing them to learn anytime and anywhere. Our dynamic courses provide bite-sized learning and help educators advance their knowledge while also gaining professional development hours. It's time you take charge of your learning. Visit us today to get started.
Attention football fans. The Cricket MEAC SWAC Challenge Kickoff presented by Toyota is back in Atlanta on August 29th. Representing the SWAC, Alabama A&M, and representing the MEAC, Howard. Join us at Center Park Stadium for a full day of tailgating, football, and bands.
Compress the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna lose, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gonna teach a lesson.
We know him as Coach Hernandez of the Bethune-Cookman University Wildcats. You all know him as part of the Team USA group that went to Taiwan and played in the Inaugural World Collegiate Championship and brought home the silver medal. With that being said, let me go to you, Charles, your follow-up question.
Oh, no doubt. First and foremost, Coach, I wanted to congratulate you on the contract extension. I know that was back in June, but definitely congratulations. Kudos on that.
Thank you.
Can I get a hot dog?
Yeah, I got you.
You can afford it now.
Yeah, maybe some peanuts too.
But you talked about this experience with Team USA, and then other SWAC coaches around the league have had this experience with Team USA. But I wanted to ask, in terms of what you guys bring back from the experience that enhances not only your program but enhances the league as a whole, in terms of once you get into conference play, are there best practices or things of that nature that you're bringing back?
I think when you're in the point, right, or in a leadership point, right, you always want to learn, right? You're a lifelong learner. I think for myself, what I can take from it is being surrounded by different coaches and different ideology and different practices to see what best fits our program moving forward. I think that's the biggest takeaway from my experience. Yes, the relationship with the players, it was great, and with the coaches, but just having those meetings, those one-on-ones, just talking to coaches. Our head coach, Coach Hartlib, is the head coach at Illinois. The bench coach is, Coach Tracy Smith, who's the head coach of Michigan at a Big Ten school. Our pitching coach is Coach Hobbs from the SEC Arkansas. Our third base coach was Coach Walters from Wake Forest, the head coach there. So just being in a room with those type of guys and being able to speak to them and validating what we're doing, one as a conference, two as a baseball program here at Bethune-Cookman. I think that that's the biggest thing that I take away, is having those conversations with that group of people to be able to validate what we're doing for us as a program, developing our players. And the other thing too is how can we continue to evolve our baseball program with the ideas and with having that dialect with those type of caliber coaches that are essentially in the Power Four realm of NCAA baseball.
Sure thing.
AD, go ahead, jump in here.
Coach Hernandez, congratulations once again. Once again, I'm gonna kind of piggyback off of Charles, but I'm gonna frame it a little bit of a different way. You just mentioned all these SWAC coaches who have gone and been a part of this program for the last 5-6 years there. And we know, as soccer is the world sport, baseball is the Far East sport and the sport of the Americas. So, given these Far East teams that you have played, is there any chance that because of this relationship, because you guys getting to see these kids, that we may ultimately start seeing some of these prospects that you guys playing against in the SWAC, or one day as they look, if they choose to come to school in America? I know we got to get our immigration stuff handled, Coach, so we're not going to touch that part of it, but just in general, will they fit within these HBCU programs, especially from a cultural perspective?
I think they will, and I think eventually that'll happen, right? I think our job as head coaches is to continue to evolve our programs, and I think HBCUs create, a variety of opportunities, regardless of race and background. I myself, as a Latin American, graduated from HBCU and got my master's through Bethune-Cookman. So I think that door can open. There's obviously a lot of things that have to take place in order for those opportunities to happen, right? As you mentioned, the immigration stuff and the language barrier. There's a lot of things that do have to take place, but I can foresee a situation. I mean, I can tell you, for me, there was a couple of guys that, I saw where I was like, okay, I think that, he would fit well in our system and what we're trying to accomplish here at Bethune-Cookman. So again, I think that, maybe those opportunities can exist. It just has to be, the right time, and it's got to be the right opportunity as well, right? We're not just going to take anybody from the Far East and bring them across the country, just to be a regular guy on the roster. It's got to be an impact guy. And you've seen that, right? Like Stanford had a guy from the Far East. There's a guy that was at High Point that now just committed to go play under, Coach Carrick at Missouri. So those opportunities, I'm sure, are going to happen. I would assume so in the HBCU landscape, but that's going to take some years and some time before that actually materializes.
You didn't call Reggie to ask him, could he squeeze one more scholarship? Huh? Couldn't find that one, huh?
Listen, man, those guys, I think that's a conversation I may have to have in the next week or so. So everything within the parameters of the game, right?
There you go.
See, that's what happens when you get those new contracts. You on a hot dog.
No, I will tell you. I will.
Off the college.
Yeah. I will say, not to cut you off, Dr. Cavil, is that over there in the Far East, they're very fundamentally sound, baseball down there. And that's one thing when, Japan was taking in and out, or infield, outfield, their defensive segment for those 10, 15 minutes. I made my way up to see it. I wanted to see what it was all about. And, it was just so clean, so crisp. I mean, you have to play your best baseball against the Far East teams. There's no taking a day off. And again, when you get USA and Japan together, it's kind of like FAMU and Bethune-Cookman, right? They're going to go at it, right? You got to be at your best. I asked AD Drew about the Florida Classic. He knows. But I will say,
which fundamentally sound.
Last year, the most recent one, and maybe the 9 that we had in a row, but. No, I will say that it's fundamentally sound baseball, and they're so clean and crisp and intentional of what they want to do, where, there is a difference, baseball here in America as it is in the Far East, but can we blend both of those together? Absolutely. Wow. But again, I was impressed with, the caliber of baseball and the instruction part of it and the development part of baseball in the Far East. It was my first time going out there. And again, it was great baseball to be a part of.
Wilton, go ahead.
Coach Hernandez, congrats again. My question is kind of twofold. From your point of view, what would you say? You talked a lot about how the players from the SWAC being exposed to this caliber of baseball, but I would ask you this: from your point of view, what are they learning about HBCU baseball players, and what would you also say that when you've had the opportunity to coach these HBCU players like you have, what is the experience that they take away the most from this opportunity?
Well, I think the biggest thing for the HBCU guys that get selected is the confidence in their ability to play at an elite level, right? Because you have to have an elite ability to be able to be considered, one of those 60 spots to get invited to training camp. I think on the flip side, when you get the Power 4 guys and, they don't know about our schools, and that's the reality, and that's fine. But once they start talking and they spend time with each other, the ability talks for itself. So I think what that does too is it opens up the door for conversation of, hey, what school do you go to? What's the conference? What is it all about? And you have that opportunity for both, type of players to have that conversation. And I think that the overall experience was great. Pablo has been part of the training camp for 3 years out of the 4 years that he was at Bethune. This is Callaway's first opportunity and, Early's first opportunity out of Norfolk State. And again, I do really think that they take a lot of positives out of it, but I think that the biggest thing would be for them to understand that they do have the confidence, in their abilities to be able to play at an elite level.
Good stuff, man. This is excellent. We don't get a chance to talk about baseball as much as we would like to because it seems to go so fast in that 10, 12, 15-week period, particularly when you conference with the 10 games. Next thing you know, the tournament, you have the magic of 5-6 days, and before you know it, a team you're following is going to the College World Series, and then the door slams. But this extension to be able to talk baseball and talk it on an international level is fascinating, which brings to my attention, what was the attendance like, in terms of an event like this?
It was up and down. Now here's the thing. I caught a lot of heat being from Florida, and we have hurricanes in Florida. As soon as we touched down in Taiwan, there's a typhoon that was approaching the island. So all of us are like, what is a typhoon? And I had to look it up, and I asked somebody, hey, what's a typhoon? I mean, we're getting calls from back home, making sure everybody's safe, and we were in a really good spot. USA Baseball made sure that we were all safe, we're all good. But typhoon is pretty much a hurricane. The wind direction is just different. So when they tell us that, I was like, okay, well, we have a typhoon, and that impacted the attendance because on the south end of the island, it got hit. But again, against Chinese Taipei, we had a couple of thousand people out there. The Japan game, that we had against them in the gold medal game, it was maybe 2,000-3,000 people. Again, it was really the fact that there was a typhoon and there were still thousands of people out there. It speaks volumes of what they think about baseball there in the Far East.
No doubt. Last question I have for you is: some of us have followed baseball, whether it was the Negro League days and back and seeing that and hearing those experiences, or more modernly, the Caribbean baseball classics. And some of us that had not necessarily experienced that have seen it from the World Baseball Classic, when you bring in an international flavor in terms of the different style of the fan attendance and how excited they get with some are bringing drums or different musical instruments. Was any of that flavor involved with some of the fans there? Can you share that with those that may have not caught that side of baseball to understand? And I've seen this in some of the post-game activities of Bethune-Cookman, which is just flavorful in the flavor. And I'm like, come on, y'all can bring that in the stands, but they don't want to rub some people the wrong way. I'm not sure everybody's ready for that. Post-game victory for Bethune-Cookman is quite lively.
Oh, yeah.
You're talking about a share that flavor is what I'll call it, to be nice in terms of the cultural experience that is added oftentimes when you bring in this international flavor to the game?
Oh yeah, we had there was games against Korea and Japan and even Taipei where it seemed like they had their own band. Out there, guys with trombone and with the drums, just kind of beating the drums and then just having their own cadences of, what they were doing. So again, it was an overall great experience. Even though the guys that we had on our roster, some of them played at the College World Series in Omaha, Nebraska, and nothing compares to that experience. This is something that all of us were, taking a step back, but also appreciated the opportunity, just seeing what baseball is in the Far East and taking some things there. But again, it was awesome. We didn't understand what they were saying as far as their cadences, but they had a little beat to them.
You can follow the beat. You can follow the rhythm.
Exactly.
But they said music is international and it has no tongue that most people can't understand once you follow the beat. For those that I guess are able to do that, we'll leave that there. But any last thing you want to share?
Oh,
go ahead.
Coach Hernandez, what was the one thing that one of those teams did over there that had you looking like, what the heck are they doing and why? Because just like some people don't, like you said, they don't understand the music with certain things. Some people come in, don't understand how our fans in the stands do that stuff. Some people come in, don't even understand why there's a tailgate outside of a baseball game. What was the one thing that you saw over there that just kind of had you like, oh my God, what's going on? It's cool, but I still don't understand what's going on.
It was the band, like having their 3-4 man band there. I've never seen that in a game. I mean, obviously in football you have the bands there, but in a baseball game to have, people playing drums and trombones and doing all the stuff that they were doing, that kind of caught me off guard. And again, just the willingness for the Far East teams not to strike out. That's something that caught me, really, okay, how can we transition this, to our program, right? Because in the States, right, we have high strikeouts, high power numbers. That's kind of the era that we're in right now. But I think that their inability or their refuse to strike out, it doesn't matter. That's like a cultural thing. That's something that they refuse to do. And it's something that I would like to interject to our program as well and just have that mindset of, just, hey, we're not going to strike out. And it could be, I mean, we had some really good arms that, those teams faced with our pitching staff at USA, and just the inability for them to punch guys out. And it was just, it's a mindset for them. So I think that's another thing too, that I caught where, wow, that's pretty good.
Still a lot of contact hitters, a lot of slappies.
Yes. Yeah. Contact guys, just like Ichiro, right? Japan's been a little bit more physical as what they're kind of accustomed to, but still just all the way around, those guys make contact. They're going to make you execute, and they're not going to chase. They're going to put the ball in play, and you have to play clean defense.
All right, we'll get you out of here. Anything you want to share that we didn't ask you?
No, I appreciate you guys having me on as always. I'm here for you guys. I'm obviously a supporter of the show and what you guys all bring to the table. And thank you once again for the opportunity to speak to you guys.
My pleasure. We'll take our last break, come back on the other side and talk a little bit more about some other sports. Great opportunity to discuss baseball with Coach Hernandez.
You got it.
You're looking for the latest information on Southern University sports, the Southwestern Athletic Conference, and HBCU athletics. There's only one place to go. Tune in to the Carlos Brown Show, exclusively on the Black College Sports Network.
you've ever told yourself, I want to get into real estate but don't know where to start, here's something just for you. From Friday, July 31st to Sunday, August 2nd, the Learn Real Estate Fast Masterclass is coming to McKenzie Office Park in College Park. You'll learn wholesaling, commercial investing, and how to purchase property with zero money or credit. I can tell you, education and access are everything. This masterclass is designed to give you both. Whether you're brand new or ready to level up, this is where you start making real moves. Enjoy free lunch, free study materials, and receive a certification of completion. So don't wait. Seats are filling fast. Do not sit on the sidelines while others build wealth. Take that first step toward ownership and legacy. Get your tickets now at learnrealestatefast.com or tickpick.com. For more information, call 678-859-3303. Master the market, build your legacy, secure your future today.
Introducing the HBCU Trivia Game. It's more than a board game. It's a journey to the legacy of historically black colleges and universities. Here's how it works. 2 to 4 players, ages 13 and up, start as freshmen and roll the dice to advance. But here's the twist. You can only move forward by answering trivia questions about HBCU. Test your knowledge of notable alumni, key historical events, sports milestones, and fun HBCU facts. Watch out for spaces that can propel you ahead or set you back. And if you get a question wrong, you stay put until your next turn. The first to reach graduation wins! The HBCU Trivia Game. Support, educate, entertain! Available now. Let the journey begin.
Football fans, HBCU football is back in the ATL on August 29th with the Cricket MEAC SWAC Challenge Kickoff presented by Toyota, representing the SWAC, Alabama A&M, and representing the MEAC, Howard, Bulldogs, Bison, the Marching Maroon and White, the Showtime Marching Band, the premier FCS matchup in primetime with a kickoff trophy up for grabs. Join us pre-game for fan jamborees, food, activations, and fellowship. For tickets and information, visit MEACSWACChallenge.com.
Compress the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna lose, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
Good to be back. You see us welcome back. Summer what? Summer 2, man. Summer 2, we in July. It got a little hotter, but hey, the mindset has gotten a little stronger, right? It's time to go. It's getting close to it. Here's some of the goals and things I got listed for the this session of July. The first thing I got up there is what's saying? Consistency. What I mean by that? Keep getting better. I think the first session, that first last session y'all come out of, what did I tell y'all at the end right there? What did I say? Anybody remember? Just a couple key words. Anybody? I said we got better though, didn't we? Y'all worked off. So now we got to do what? Stay consistent and continue to get better each and every day. July is important, and you'll see why here in a second as we get to these next slides. July is important. You new guys, it's important that you get in here and keep up. Because those dogs that was here last session, they not coming off the gas this session. But we got to be consistent as a football team. There's no way I'm going to allow you, no way these coaches are going to allow you to come in here and take a step back. I don't care what the heat say. I don't care what the weight room say. I don't care what the classroom say. Get better. Continue to get better. Continue to push your body to those extremes, because there's going to be a moment in this season that we're going to have to come to you, and I'm telling you, you're going to have to grind it out because that team over there won't it. Everybody understand? We got to stay consistent. Next thing, be the standard. Be the standard. If we say black socks, what socks? If we say tuck the shirt in, what we need to do? All right, it's simple stuff like that. We say be on time, we say 7:30. Coach Jones, you say what? Get here 7:20. Be here. Coach Trey say be in the weight room. I don't care if you say 4:30 in the morning. Be there. It's a reason behind it. I saw Cam interview the other night. You talked about doing what? Going undefeated. You talked about what? 12 points a game as a defense. All that stuff matters. You're talking about being the standard when you say those things. All that stuff matters. This year, we're not just going to talk it. We're going to be about it, though. I'm done talking about it and be about it. Everybody, coach, man, why you ain't been on something? Why you ain't did it? I ain't got nothing to say. This is all that matters to me. I'm done talking. I'm all about the work from this point on. Everybody understand that. Be the standard.
Hey, I got to talk. Coach got me nervous. I got to talk. I got to talk. Somebody got to talk. TC say he ain't talking about it no more. Well, ask me no questions.
Well, if them walls could talk in Jackson.
How you feel?
They are right now on Netflix, it look like.
Got us another HBCU series.
I just got one thing. The closed caption person must went to Jackson State too, because you notice every time he said Z, it added the extra E in the closed captions.
Somebody know.
That
Wilton,
definitely went chat
Charles
GPT
said
with the
he's not
captions.
talking. Wilton, you got something to say?
I don't know.
It's been beautifully quiet.
It is. I've heard more from Prairie View more than I heard from Jackson State, and I'm in Mississippi right now.
Okay. We can't get no regular season matchup.
Hey man, might have to wait to WAC championship. Some other schools got something to say about that, but you know, hey,
as long as y'all come to Texas, we'll see it. We'll see it. Because the East gonna beat each other up.
That might be fun.
Yeah. Yep.
So since
I do think this is the first year that the West may host. I mean, honestly, because like I say, I do think the East is going.
It gotta start sometime.
Yeah.
Well, you know, they call it Texas-Sippy over here, so you know that might be fun.
Mississippi. There's a lot of Mississippi out this way. I will say that. With that being said, HBCU Sports did a 4 sneaky HBCU games to watch. So I want to get your thoughts on these. I think some of the obvious ones we know about. That's the Howard, Alabama A&M. So those are not on the list because they're obvious. The Jackson State, Tennessee State. I don't think that's a sneaky game. That's one that people are quietly going to keep their eyes on. The Birmingham Classic. You know, last one was the John Merritt Classic, and then obviously the Cricket MEAC SWAC Challenge kickoff presented by Toyota. That's the Howard, Alabama A&M game. And the last one I just mentioned was the Birmingham Classic with Southern in Alabama State. Those are games I think people obviously are going to be watching. The kickoff thing. But one game they mentioned, this is a sneaky good one. I want to get your thoughts on this. North Carolina Central at Texas Southern. Do you agree? Sneaky game to watch. And why would you say that, Charles?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is a game, when you take a look at North Carolina Central, perennially right there in the mix with regards to what they do over there in the MEAC. But this could be kind of a coming out party for Texas Southern. A team that's was literally been kind of knocking at the door, not able to knock down the door over the past few seasons. But this could send an early statement in terms of getting a victory over North Carolina Central for Texas Southern. And like we kind of saw with Prairie View last year, that opening game, it set the stage for the remainder of the season for Prairie View. And you could see a similar effect happening for Texas Southern.
I'm going to let everybody get a chance to give me their thoughts on that game. But if you will, run with me, Wilton. We're going to move to this next one. Okay. And then we'll come back and get your thoughts on any of the games that you want to follow up.
Okay.
This one is Edward Waters at Jackson State. This is a Division II, Division I. It's not supposed to be sneaky.
Yeah.
But if you had to sell this game, why would you say that this is a sneaky one to watch out Is it just because of what we saw with the preseason rankings? Edward Waters predicted order of finish in the SIAC at number 1. You have Jackson State number 2. You just saw the video.
Yeah.
Says that they are already trying to play that wrong. Why would you say this is a sneaky one to keep your eyes on if you had to?
If you had to, I guess if you're trying to play it up some, I think it's more so of like what we kind of saw Edward Waters do last year in football, and maybe they're going to take some steps forward this year, or that's the presumption that they're going to take some steps forward. And then you get a Jackson State program that was there and fell short from a SWAC championship, and it's just like 2 teams, 2 different divisions, but at the same time playing for something that's really big. Obviously a win, but at the same time, if you have Waters, who wouldn't want to beat Jackson State, right? Like this, I mean, you talk about one of the more prominent blue blood programs amongst HBCU football, they would absolutely love to beat Jackson State. And if you're Jackson State, it's like you want to start off like setting the like Coach Taylor said, you want to set the standard, regardless of what Edward Waters is doing on the D2 level. And if you know Coach Taylor, he's not one to take any opponent lightly at all. So knowing that, it's just like if you wanted to sell it from that standpoint, 2 teams on their respective divisions that have big expectations coming into this year, if you want to sell it like that.
On paper, here's why it's sneaky to me. Jackson State has question mark about a revamped offensive line. You're talking about a new running backs because you lost 3 from last season. You're talking about a bit of a revamp with regards to the defensive line. The secondary was not the secondary we've seen last season with regards to Jackson State. Getting off the field on 3rd down was a real issue. And you kind of can see where early in the season, it could potentially be bumps in the road until this talent can gel at Jackson State. So that's why I think it could be potentially sneaky.
Thank you, Charles, for playing it up. But Charles don't listen. I said I would go to each one of y'all.
I
was going to say this to Wilton because he was short to the point. So that's why I allowed Charles to jump in there because he's going to do his thing. I don't want no problem when we road tripping either. But with that being said, this is also interesting to me. Is this another opportunity for us to see, has the gap widened between what could be top teams in each division? So that's why it's fascinating and sneaky to me, because it also gives you that indication. Has it widened or has it closed in terms of an upset? So that part is big there too, to Wilton's point. If Jackson State is who we think they are, even if Edward Waters are who we think they are, it still could be too much, and it'd be fascinating to see what that is. Now, I know A.D. Drew doesn't want to hear that because his bread is buttered out of the SIAC, but he is a man that understands what's on tape is on what's tape in terms of the games be played. But I'm going to give him a chance to talk a little bit about this, because there's a lot of history there. That was September 5th game. This is a September 19th game with Tennessee State at FAMU. This one is rekindling of a rivalry that goes back so far as beyond anything that we were able to witness. We just read about it. But A.D. Drew was there when games were big and they were in Atlanta, in terms of that classic. But now he gets the chance to see it from what a lot of fans saw in the 50s, 60s, to be frank, and even in the 70s, classic national black college implications with legendary coaches on the sideline that people knew from that time after winning championships, and certainly what we learned when we look at all their resumes and find out. I tell everybody there was a 4-year period when you talk about Mumford, Billy Nix, these legendary coaches just amazing when you talk about John Merritt, Gaither, leading these programs, and there's a 4-year period where they all played each other, which to me is just it's hard to imagine that you were winning a championship at a time when you had all those together. It's Eddie Robinson was in the mix as a young coach. And then you had some of the legendary coaches that were falling off were still there. One time I'll play that out and give you that record when you talk about these coaches. You know, we did that report with Brian Fulford as we were talking about legendary coaches with so many people looking at Nick Saban. We gave us a chance to reflect. And even he was shocked when we brought up some of those records and talked about that. And so we'll revisit that at the time because I've added some dynamics and went back. And that article was really about their full resume. But this one is I want to do what you think about it, those kind of 30 for 30. And at least from a verbal perspective, I'd love to have somebody maybe talk to Steve Gaither and his team about figuring out how to do a video to kind of play that homage over this 4-year period. You can stretch it out to 8, where a couple of them come on and come off, where it really is still fascinating from that perspective. But all that being said, AD, can you talk about why this game would be a sneaky good one to keep your eyes on for those that may not be directly related and understand what we just broke down there?
Florida A&M hosting Tennessee State. While the modern generation may not understand this game, and I respect the time that you were talking about before I was born and before I got into HBCU culture. For me, Dr. Cavil, this game right here is the reason why I wound up at an HBCU. These two teams playing in Atlanta in 1989. That simple. This is the game that sold me, put me over the top. Yes, I'm going to an HBCU. That experience at that game as a senior in high school in 1989. But fast forward to 2026, everybody. Florida A&M head coach Quinn Gray, who understands the importance of this game because this game was starting to fade out when he came on as quarterback at Florida A&M. This game also plugged in a gap when the FAMU Southern rivalry stopped. This was that non-conference rivalry that everyone clung to when FAMU Southern was put on their 20-year hiatus. A little bit of history about these two teams. President Dr. Fred Humphreys, before he became president at Florida A&M University, was the president at Tennessee State University. So there's a lot of intermingling and cohabitating between the two. Tennessee State coming off a very disappointing year after reaching the playoffs 2 years ago. So Tennessee State, trying to get back into the culture. Tennessee State, Mickey Joseph cloud hanging over them. What would do Tennessee State nothing more than to beat an HBCU? And yes, should Tennessee State beat the HBCU, their Tennessee State to the SWAC talk will be coming. Should they beat Florida A&M? It comes with the territory. That's Florida A&M beats Tennessee State, y'all still not ready. Going back over there to the OVC Big Show. Y'all not ready yet. And then for Quinn Gray, last thing before I get out, with them not having the ultimate championship to compete for, being the SWAC championship, which would lead to the Celebration Bowl, victories in games like this throughout the year are going to be those teams big championship games within the season. The Florida Classic, this particular game, the Orange Blossom Classic, homecoming. Without having a SWAC championship to get for, they need to get those 4 games to make Rattler Nation feel like it was a success, despite us not being able to compete for the SWAC championship.
That's good stuff. Quickly, Drew, Tennessee State, FAMU bigger, or Southern FAMU during your time at FAMU?
Oh, during my time, it's Tennessee State. Southern fell off the schedule while I was there. Tennessee State was there the entire time while I was at FAMU. So Tennessee State has to be the top non-conference games.
Charles smiles because I love asking that question because fandom is so generational.
Yeah.
Right. And Charles has probably had the biggest influence on me understanding this from that perspective. And then I've gone on to be able to talk with other folks such as BJ Jones, because there was a group of fans when I was first coming in there that, when we were fascinated and frustrated with Southern, they did not understand it because during their era, they beat Southern up. And most folks, as I told BJ, don't understand it because more modern Southern fans are like, whatever. And there's a period where Prairie View didn't understand what is the current hype about Jackson State. And current Jackson State folks are like, what are you talking about? It's Prairie View. And I was like, man, when y'all first came into the SWAC, the first 10 years, man, it was not pretty. And then you talk about that relationship with the president. You had a relationship with Jackson State and Tennessee State. So for those fans that not only love HBCU sports for what it is now, but also the history, it's fascinating. As I said, I'm digging into a portfolio that talks about that first decade when I'm pulling these old Negro newspapers of the SWAC in 1920. I just got my hands on to a Texas college program from the 1940s, and it looks at a 10-year period of Texas college, and they were dominant during that decade. It spreads the last half of the 30s and first half of the 40s. And you just forget, and that's a World War II period. So I'm like, wow, it's amazing when you get a chance to dig and you see not only the history written, but then you get a chance to see a program that gives you some pictures as well, and breaks down some dialogue of, if you just go out there and look at the records, you can't find a schedule SWAC-wise for the records for 43. It had the records for 43 in terms of that in there. Fascinating. It had Texas College's 10-year record against its opponents. And you just like, ooh, wee. But let's get back to this modern thing and kind of close out before I spaz out and take y'all down the rabbit hole. But this last one, all of y'all get a chance to kind of tell me your thoughts on. And you can pick another one that you want to go back to if you choose desire. But this is the South Carolina State of Bethune-Cookman. Obviously, one of the things that jumps out is the old MEAC rivalry days. There's a period where Bethune-Cookman dominated the MEAC. Obviously, we know for many moons, South Carolina State has certainly done this thing in football for the MEAC. And so it's fascinating to kind of see that when you think about it. But all of you, and I'll come back to you, Wilton, first. Sneaky good, South Carolina State at Bethune-Cookman, obviously #1 ranking in the inaugural preseason Black College Football poll, picked to repeat for the third time in the MEAC poll. in a lot of ways, we're not just talking about where they win. The question is, seems where they go to undefeated. But I guess in the MEAC, you almost have to go to undefeated, or you probably not going to make it out of there. Wilton, sell me on this.
Honestly, you have the team to beat. If you're Bethune-Cookman, South Carolina State, if you're Bethune-Cookman, this is the team to beat because they won the Celebration Bowl and they haven't lost a conference game. And it's Chennis Berry, and all you hear, I'm sure, is like talk, the standard 1-0 every week. You know, the motivational speech every week. So it's just like, who wouldn't want to beat this team, right?
No, they got to go to work. Yeah,
exactly. You know, my boys going. You know,
the ABCs and the 1, 2, 3s and
right. So I just think that, you know, if you're Bethune-Cookman, and this is a Bethune-Cookman team for the last 2 years, we've thought at the beginning of the season that this was going to be the year they were going to take the turn. And last year we kind of thought that this was going to be a Bethune-Cookman team that was going to take the turn, and they took the turn at the back half of the season, meaning like they won more games than they usually would. You know, this was going to be Raymond Woody's coming out party to lead, you know, the Wildcats or whatever, but they couldn't stop nobody. They had high-powered offense, but couldn't stop a soul. So now it's just like, well, let's see if you can slow down Chennis Berry and his squad. You send a message if you do. That means to Drew's point of the SWAC East. Oh, if Bethune-Cookman was to win this game, that means Jackson State, Alabama State, Bethune-Cookman, FAMU with Queen Great. You don't know who's gonna win.
And A&M in there, and Alabama A&M.
Yeah,
that too.
You're right.
It
Think
might not
game,
Valley.
Everybody just throws their hands up with the East.
Yeah.
Charles, good stuff, Wilton.
Yeah. A particular game that I think will be a sneaky game?
No, I'm just saying you can give your thoughts on this one, or you can go with the previous one that you did talk about.
No, I think
you want to add one. This is kind of pretty.
Wilton hit the nail on the head with Bethune-Cookman and South Carolina State. Anytime you knock off the defending Black College national champion, the one that I have a little asterisk by is a conference game, and it's when Alabama State comes to Houston to take on Texas Southern. Mm-hmm. If Texas Southern becomes the Texas Southern they have an opportunity to be, that one November 7th is very interesting because it precedes the Alabama State Jackson State game. Mm-hmm. So that one has the potential to sort of move the needle for me.
Sneaky good one. That's a sneaky good one. AD Drew, sneaky good one. You can go free scale, or you can talk about any of these four.
I'm gonna go with free for all, and I'm gonna lump these three games into one, and these three games are the ones on the 3 of the 4 on the list. North Carolina Central at Texas Southern, August 29th. Tennessee State at Florida A&M, September 19th. South Carolina State at Bethune-Cookman, September 26th. How will heat and humidity potentially play into these games for the road team? That's one thing I want to look at for these games. But also, I want to add the South Carolina State Bethune-Cookman game. And Coach Hernandez mentioned something. You know, he's from Florida. They're used to hurricanes. Man, that September 26th game is right when we usually start seeing the little disturbances in the water start coming to land. So will rain, or will the game possibly have to get altered because of weather? And if so, how would that affect these two teams' season, especially if for some reason they are unable to play this particular game because of potential weather situations and everything? So just some other little tidbits that I wanted to throw out to keep in mind as you kind of evaluate these games and pick a side in these particular games that I want to take a look at.
Good stuff. Good comments. Great show. All of y'all appreciate the update. Shout out to those comments and those listening in the lab. Listen, I see y'all fully engaged and ready for some football as you all get going. Appreciate the support, certainly, as we get it done. This is going to do it for our Tuesday edition. Thank you for listening. The Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Make sure you share our podcast with your friends and colleagues. I am Dr. Kenyatta Cavil, the Dean of HBCU Sports, coming from inside the lab. in the College of HBCU Sports with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Again, we want to thank you for listening to Dr. Ville's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop every Tuesday and Thursday, 6 o'clock Central Standard Times. Getting excited for that Sunday, 9 a.m. edition. It's a different variable when we get into it, and you can see guests such as Wilton Jackson II, AD Drew, as they join us the rest of the summer throughout the year, and especially on some of those summer editions to give you their thoughts on what took place on Saturday. Some cases it might be Thursday and or Friday. We look forward to next week as we discuss the latest news in the lab. Follow me, Dr. Kenyatta Cavil. That's DrKenyattacavil. That's Threads, Facebook, Instagram, Inside the HBCU Sports Lab 1 on Facebook, Inside the HBCU Sports Lab on YouTube. Dream big. Continue to move forward. We will talk with you soon. Charles?
Course.
Wilton.
Lecture.
AD?
Travel light, everybody. Dismissed.